Hello. All right, everyone. Happy Monday. Coach Courtney here. I'm the owner of C Fitness, and today I wanted to hop on here and talk about how you can stop bullshitting yourself. So a lot of times we actually just get in the way of our own success. So I'm gonna be sharing with you 5 ways you can stop bullshitting yourself so that way you can get on the right track to make your next weight loss attempt your last. So I am a personal trainer and a nutrition coach, and I work with women to help them balance their metabolism and also balance their hormones for weight loss. So that's who I help, how I serve people. So I wanted to share with you some ways that you can stop getting in your own way, okay? Because we have the new year upon us. It's going to be here as just a couple weeks from now, and I want you guys to hit 2021 running, okay, toward your weight loss goals. So we're gonna go through a few things today, and if you guys have any comments, any questions, make sure that you pop those below, okay, even if you guys are watching the replay. So the first thing I want to talk about is setting realistic expectations. So a lot of us, what we do, we think we have to have this all or nothing mentality in order to reach our weight loss goals. So we think that we have to, stop eating all of our favorite foods, that we have to go from the couch to running marathons, right? But really the best approach to do is to start exactly where you are. Okay, so for example, if you are trying to hop on some more advanced type diets like the keto diet, or maybe some advanced strategies like intermittent fasting, here's the thing. You really need to make sure that you're doing things like working on your quality of nutrition first, okay? That's really the best way to do it, because if you go from eating a standard American diet that's filled with a lot of starch and sugar and fat, trying to go from that to like a paleo type diet or something more advanced like intermittent fasting, then more than likely you're probably not going to be able to stick with it, right? Because it's going to feel overwhelming. So I always tell people, instead of just starting off with these more advanced diet strategies and diets, really what you need to do is make little baby steps. So work on getting more fiber, protein, and water into your diet is really a good first step, okay? So whether you are doing all this for the first time, or it's been a while, you've kind of fallen off the wagon, you've been eating a lot of processed foods, things like that, really the best way to do this is do things like start eating more vegetables, okay? Start with things like that. Start crowding out that processed foods, and then you can do things like starting to track your food. You can start calorie counting, macro counting, and then you can eventually move into more advanced strategies like a specific type of diet, okay? So that's absolutely important in order to stay on track, because what a lot of us do, we wait until Monday, or we wait until the beginning of the year, right? And we think, oh, this is the last time. And that's really just not realistic. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, in order to keep weight off, you're going to have to learn how to get those foods in your diet that you love in moderation. Like, for example, yesterday I had cherry pie and ice cream. My mom brought over some food yesterday, and it's one of those things, like, if it's something I'm not really passionate about, I'll skip. I don't want to really waste any calories. But man, I tell you what, it's so good in order to really give yourself that permission to enjoy those foods in moderation. So, I always tell people, even my one-on-one coaching clients, guys, as long as you're sticking to the plan 80% of the time, you're more than likely going to get a great result. And I also feel that it's important to give yourself that little wiggle room, so that way you're able to actually stick on something, okay? Because if you're really strict with your diet and you see eating something like dessert as a setback and you let that get to you, then more than likely you're going to say screw it, and then you're going to start self-sabotaging behavior like, oh, I'll just get back on track on Monday, or whatever the case is. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach. So let's try to go into the new year by setting goals that are realistic. Start very simple, start with small changes, and really just implement maybe one thing at a time, okay? And then what you can do, you can start making that a little bit more challenging, and then you can start adding more changes in. Another thing I want to talk about, guys, is exercise. Because here's the thing, a lot of people, yes, exercise is very helpful with weight loss, but you don't necessarily need it, at least in the beginning. So I always tell my clients, hey, you know what? If it's too overwhelming to do all of this all at once, get back to starting an exercise program, right? And doing the whole diet thing, starting to make changes to your diet. Start with your nutrition, guys, because here's the thing. Again, it's too overwhelming when you try to make all of these changes. Also, I feel that you're going to be a lot more successful when you just focus on your diet. You can get all that stuff down. And another thing is that if you're eating the standard American diet, you might not feel really good to exercise, right? Because you're going to have some energy in order to work out. So start making changes to your diet, improve the quality of your diet, okay? Crowd out processed foods, start eating more vegetables, okay? And fruits, lean protein, those types of things, okay? So focus on those types of things. Get your diet under control first, and exercise can come later. And usually it's a natural thing that happens. You start making these changes to your diet, and guess what? You start to feel better, right? Maybe you don't experience so much inflammation. You see a decrease in symptoms. And also, you start to have more energy. So I feel that getting the nutrition side of things down first is a really good place to start. And then you can add the exercise stuff in later, okay? So that's one thing. And also, when you do start exercising, guys, I see a lot of people that just jump right into things like CrossFit or, HIIT, some kind of HIIT training. And if it's been 20 years since you've done a squat, then that's probably not the best thing to do. So, working on just basic exercises like body weight calisthenics, like squats, push-ups, doing modified versions of that, even hiring a personal trainer, even if it's just for a few months, right, to get your form down. So that way you're not going full-fledged, right, from couch potato to marathon runner, right, and injuring yourself, because that's really, really important to keep in mind. So if you're someone who's a beginner or it's been a long time, especially if you have some old injuries, it's a really good idea to start slow, work yourself back into it, and also hire a personal trainer to help you out with your form, okay, and modifications if you need that for injuries. So that's the first one, okay? So that's a lot to think about, but set realistic expectations, okay? Start exactly where you are. If you're a little bit further along in your journey, then you can do more advanced things, but keep it simple, okay? Focus on the quality of your nutrition first before you start adding things like exercise and also more advanced diet strategies. And then finally, we talked about the 80-20 rule, okay? If you guys are eating protein, water, and fiber 80% of the time, give yourself a little wiggle room, and that's going to probably keep you on track and help you from self-sabotage, which is not a good thing. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. All right, guys, so we're going to move into the second one. All right, so if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you pop those into the comments below. All right. Second one, keep your preferences in mind, okay, when it comes to diet and exercise. This is so important. I always tell my clients, if you don't like your diet, you're not going to be able to stay on it. So that means, okay, like for example, if there is certain vegetables you don't like, say you don't like kale, you don't have to eat kale. Maybe you eat Swiss chard, or maybe you eat spinach instead, right? So for me, I don't really care for kale that much unless it's like in a smoothie. So I do things like, spring mix. I love spinach. Spinach is probably actually one of my favorites. But go with what you like, guys. Don't force yourself to stomach these foods, okay, just because you know they're healthy. So keep your preferences in mind. And I'm also going to say this, guys. Like, everyone's like, I need a meal plan. I need a meal plan. You know what, guys? You don't need a meal plan, okay? And here's why. Because I do sample meal plans, things like that, and I do recipes, but I don't expect you guys, you might have a completely different preference than I do, right? So what I do, I would rather teach you guys how to eat, give you some examples, okay? Give you some ideas versus telling you what to eat, okay? Because this is something you're going to have to figure out on your own, and you're definitely going to have to keep your preferences in mind, okay, in order to be successful. So, again, that's why I don't do meal plans, because everyone, You know, some people can't eat dairy, some people can't eat gluten, some people are on the paleo diet, right? So I definitely have like frameworks for all those specific diets. Like I do teach things like paleo in my online coaching program. I teach intermittent fasting, those types of things. But I always use that as a framework, and then we personalize it, okay? Because everyone has a different metabolic blueprint, first of all. And also we have different goals, but preferences, guys. We need to keep these things in mind because, again, if you don't like your diet, you're not going to be able to stick with it. So keep these things in mind, guys. So if there's something you don't like, swap it out with something else. And another thing, guys, y'all think you need a meal plan, but then I'm like, okay, so do you cook? Well, no. Well, you're going to have to cook, right, in order to do that. Now, there is other options. So if you're not someone who is big on cooking, if you cannot stand cooking, then you need to look at other ways that you can prepare your meals, okay? So whether that means you could hire someone, maybe you pick out some recipes that work for you. Hire someone to come into your house and cook your meals maybe a few times a week, right? That's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it, you can order from, like we have some, I'm in Bentonville, Arkansas, Centerton area. So I know in NWA, there's lots of great meal prepping type services. So things like Simply Done, things like that, guys. You could absolutely order meals that are already prepared, okay? Even though, you know, it will cost you a little bit, but to save you the time and the energy, if you're someone who doesn't like to cook, then I highly recommend that you look into something like that. Even if maybe it's just for a couple dinners a week, right? So you can kind of free up your time. Another thing you guys can do, I teach my clients how to just make it really simple. So maybe you do something like, okay, Mondays is grilled chicken. Tuesday it's sauteed shrimp. Wednesday it's a grilled steak, right? Maybe you just throw your protein on a salad, mix up the dressings a little bit, mix up the toppings, and just make it really simple. Just have a salad for dinner every night, right? So you can absolutely just cook your protein, right? And keep some salad greens and chopped up vegetables on hand. So that way you just make it as simple as possible. So you guys really need to keep those preferences in mind because again, if it doesn't work for your preferences, if it doesn't work in your lifestyle, then you're probably not going to be able to stick with it, okay? So really important that if you don't like to cook, you need to figure out some other way. Like how are you going to prepare your meals, right? Are you going to hire someone to do it? Or are you going to maybe do like a food prep type service, right? So those are some options you guys can think about because again, guys, you need to understand like it's a lot of work. I do all my own cooking and I probably spend about 3 hours on the weekend and that's not even it. So I probably do 5 hours in the kitchen every week. So that's about the average that I'm spending preparing my meals. So something that I enjoy doing, but it's not for everyone. So I just want to point that out that you do have options, okay? Same thing with exercise, guys. You know, obviously you do need to do some kind of resistance training, but again, if you are, if you're someone who wants to do group fitness, do group fitness. If you want to be around other people, maybe you're someone like me. I like to work out on my own, so I just work out solo for the most part. And also keep like the mode of exercise, right? Like for a long time, I absolutely loved to swim. So that was a big part of my workout schedule. I definitely got that resistance training in. But yeah, for a long time, I was a swimmer and I made that a big priority in my life. So find what you love for exercise, okay? Whether it's Zumba, whether it's running, whatever the case may be, try some different things, okay? And find what lights you up, all right? So always keep your preferences in mind. It's so important because if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna stick with it. All right, guys, so we're going to head into number 3, okay? How to stop bullshitting yourself so you can get off the diet roller coaster, guys, and make your next weight loss attempt your last. So number 3, guys, is getting to the root of weight loss. So I say this all the time on my page and in my group. Guys, it's not as simple as eating less and exercising more. It doesn't always work for people. And the reason is that we have things like hormonal imbalances, right? So we need to understand that we need to understand why we're not losing weight. So if you're putting effort towards weight loss and you're not seeing a result, we need to dig, okay? What's causing this, right? Maybe you're not consistent enough, okay? That's a big one, because if you're someone who's like a yo-yo dieter, this is where I used to live, where I would do periods of hardcore restriction. And then I would just cravings would hit and I would just go out of control with my eating on the weekend. So I end up doing things like binge eating. That can absolutely keep you in this yo-yo diet cycle, right? So that can be one cause of it, where you're always going up and down with your weight, or you're just staying stagnant, right? So that's one thing. It could be a hormonal imbalance. So one of the symptoms of hormonal imbalances is weight loss resistance. So our hormones can absolutely affect our health. So if we have hormonal imbalances, like especially with our hunger hormones, guys, that is a big deal, because if leptin and ghrelin, our hunger hormones, are not functioning properly, then things like, we don't get our fullness signals, right? And then we end up overeating because our body is, it's resistant to leptin, right? Ghrelin, which signals to your brain that it's time to eat. If that's out of whack, then absolutely that could be an issue. And then we end up overeating, which can lead to weight gain, right? Another one, even things like too much exercise. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but exercise can drive hunger. So if we're not fueling our bodies properly and we're doing like a lot of high intensity type workouts, and we're not fueling our body properly, guess what? Increase in hunger can happen. And it's really easy to overeat when that happens. So we need to find a good balance with our calorie input and calorie output. So even looking at things like that, and of course, overeating is probably one of the bigger ones up there with hormones. If you guys are overeating, you need to address that, because no diet is going to help you to stop overeating. That's something that you're going to have to specifically address, right? So you need to figure out, dig if you're an overeater, okay? When are you overeating? Is it when you're sad? Is it like an emotional type eating? Maybe, it could be a lot of things. It could be maybe you diet too much during the week, you're too strict on your diet, and then you end up overeating later. Same thing with like intermittent fasting, guys. Like, you gotta have your nutrition under control whenever you start doing things like intermittent fasting, because for some people, they'll do intermittent fasting, but guess what? When that window opens up, they're starving, and then they end up overeating, which defeats the whole purpose. So you need to look at all these things. Are you overeating? Are your hormones balanced? Okay. If you're not sure, you need to talk with your doctor about getting some tests done. Are you a yo-yo dieter? Look at your patterns of, dieting during the week and overeating on the weekends. And also things like too much exercise. You need to look at these things, because again, going on another diet isn't going to solve this problem. Okay. You need to address those things specifically. So get to what is causing you weight gain or weight loss resistance, okay? Address that first, and then you can start adding on things like a specific diet, right? But you have to address these things first. Is absolutely crucial. All right, guys, so stop me if you have any questions. And that's something that I love to do, by the way. I'm like a diet detective. So if you guys are struggling with weight loss, make sure that you book your free discovery session with me, okay? Totally free. We'll hop on a phone call or video chat for 30 minutes. And I would love to hear your story. And I can point you in the right direction with that. So make sure that you do that by direct messaging me. All right, guys, because I am filling up in January quick, and I really only have a few spots left as far as bringing on new clients. So direct message me if you're dealing with weight loss resistance. I would love to chat with you. All right, number 4, okay? Get it out of the house, guys. Get it out of the house, okay? If you have a trigger food, so a trigger food is a food that just triggers you to eat, okay? So for me, it's ice cream. So I can keep it in my house now, but for a long time, I couldn't do it. Because if I had ice cream in my house, I'm gonna eat on it every single day until that ice cream is gone. Guys, get it out of the house. And if you're arguing with me about, hey, I need to keep that stuff in for my kids, things like that, guys, start doing the shopping. Get in charge of that, okay? And I promise you, I'm a step parent, so it's even worse. I don't have any bio kids, but I have 2 step kids. And when I moved in, we started making these small changes, okay? And what we did, we just kind of started making healthy substitutes, right? We went from ice cream to like yogurt, right? Things like that. And guys, you know what? It's really not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, now we start adding those things in, but guys, your kids are going to eat what you eat, okay? And it's also a good opportunity to help clean up their diet as well. And I know for sure, guys, that it's really difficult to make 2 meals. So let's try to get those trigger foods, okay? You know what those are. Maybe it's chips. Maybe it's pop. Maybe it's ice cream. I know it is for me. Get it out of the house, okay? And maybe once a week you go out and have something like that, right? But guys, if you're keeping tempting foods in your house, you're going to be tempted to eat them, okay? So take charge, okay? And if it's your spouse, okay, that you're worried about, just have an honest conversation with your partner. Like, hey, you know, I really need to do this in order to stop overeating. Please be on board with me. Please be supportive of me, okay? We can still go out, you know, maybe once a week we go out and have dessert or whatever the case. We go have a burger. Because guys, you can fit things like that in your diet and still lose weight. I can assure you this. So get it out of the house. If you really got to have it, you will go and get it, okay? Because if you have like a gallon of ice cream in your freezer, it's so easy to overeat that, okay? So get it out of the house if it's a trigger food for you, okay? If you guys have any questions, pop those into the comments, all right? Even if you're watching the replay. Okay, number 5. So we're on the last one. Your thoughts, okay? We all do this, guys. Everyone has limiting beliefs. Sometimes those negative thoughts will creep in. We have thousands of thoughts every day, and the biggest way we bullshit ourselves is believing that the bullshit that we're saying to ourselves is true. And I can tell you right now, it's a bunch of BS, all right? So, things like, I will never be able to lose the weight. This is just how I am. I'm talking about those types of things. I'm just never going to be successful with this. And just negative things about your body, guys. Get out of the habit of doing that. And when you do, okay, because those thoughts are going to come up, and they still come up for me a lot, but I can tell you right now, it's like this. I can identify it. You got to get in the habit of catching yourself bullshitting yourself, okay, with those negative thoughts, okay, those limiting beliefs, all right? And here's the thing, even if you have a hormonal imbalance, okay, even if you have something like low thyroid, which can make it really difficult to lose weight, ladies, it's not impossible, okay? I can promise you this right now. You might have to take maybe more extreme measures. Maybe you need to, you know, there might be certain things that you need to do, but I can assure you that weight loss is not impossible, okay? Even if you're dealing with something like low thyroid, okay? I can assure you that, okay? Is weight loss hard? Yes, absolutely. Is it impossible? No, it's not. It's absolutely doable, guys. Okay, and that's where people like me come in, guys. So that's something to work on. So get in the habit of catching those thoughts, and then I want you to question those thoughts. Like, you know what? Is this really true? And I want you to think back. Maybe there was a time where you did lose weight, right? And then here's the thing, guys. We need to understand that new level, new devil. So even when you do get to that weight loss goal, right, you got to do things like maintenance. Like, I'm still, you know, I've lost my weight. It's been a little over 10 years since I've been able to keep my weight consistent and not yo-yo diet like I was in my 20s. I still have to do things like measure my portions out every now and then, right? Make sure that I'm keeping that on track. I still do things like track my food, okay? So we need to understand, guys, that, yeah, after that we have weight maintenance, right? So clean up those thoughts, because here's the thing. Whenever we have these negative thoughts, guess what? That can lead to self-sabotage, right? Because we start getting these screw it ideas in our head, right? So, you know what? Well, I'm just not going to lose the weight anyway, so I might as well just eat my face off all weekend. And then you get that guilt, and then you start your diet on Monday, right? Then we end up doing things like yo-yo dieting. So, Don't let those negative thoughts take over your brain, okay? Get in control of those thoughts, okay? You are absolutely in control, ladies. So get in the habit. Catch yourself with those negative thoughts. Challenge those thoughts. Is these thoughts really true, okay? Because I can tell you right now, weight loss is not impossible, all right? So we're going to do a quick recap. Holler at me, guys, in the comments if you have any questions about what we're talking about. So step number 1, set realistic expectations. So we talked about 80-20, okay? I still have dessert, guys. I had cherry pie and ice cream yesterday. Yeah, I was in controlled portion, but you know what? I have something like that once a week, whether it's a hamburger. I love cheeseburgers. Whether it's a cheeseburger or whether it's cherry pie or ice cream, probably my favorite. Guys, give yourself that little bit, okay? That's the only way you're going to be successful with it long term. It's not going to be realistic to never eat a carbohydrate ever again, right? We talked about focusing on the quality of your nutrition, starting off with things like eating more vegetables, all right? As basic as that is, it works, okay? And starting where you are, okay? So if you're just now starting your weight loss journey, start with simple things, all right? Then you can add on to those more advanced strategies, okay? Like keto diets, whatever the case may be, right? All right, number 2, keep your preferences in mind. So important, guys. I do not teach you what to eat. I teach you how to eat, okay? I'm happy to give you guys ideas as far as recipes, sample meal plans, things like that. But guys, you're going to have to learn how to create your own menu, things like that, right? And I'm here to help you with that in my coaching programs. But keep those things in mind, right? If you don't like to cook, don't make yourself cook, right? Hire someone to do those things or order a meal service, all right? Same thing with exercise. If you don't like your exercise, then you're probably not going to stick to it, all right? So find something that you like to do, whether it's dance, whether it's walking, whatever the case, all right? Number 3, get to the root of weight loss resistance, okay? Going on a diet is not the fix, all right? You got to know exactly what is causing that resistance. So is it a hormonal imbalance? Are you a yo-yo dieter? Maybe you try to go too low with your calories during the week and then you end up binging, right? That can lead to stagnant weight, and it could also lead to yo-yo dieting where you're up and down. Are you exercising too much, right? Am I overeating? What is it that is making you stuck with weight loss? Get to the root of that. That is so important. I cannot stress that enough. Get it out of the house. All right, guys, if you are having problems with trigger foods, if there's a food that you want every single day, get it out of the house, okay? If you really need it, you're going to go out and get it, okay? So remember, 20%, you have that wiggle room for 20% of your diet to be what you like. And then finally, your thoughts. Your thoughts, this is probably the most important one, ladies. So get in more awareness about when those thoughts are coming up, those limiting beliefs, okay? Challenge those beliefs, all right? Start changing the conversation in your head, and I can almost assure you that you'll start changing your body in no time. So guys, I hope this was helpful. I wanted to go through all this. I've been thinking about this the last couple of weeks, and with New Year's coming, I definitely wanted to come on live here, share with you my top recent ways you can stop bullshitting yourself. I do have a few spots left, okay, for the 28-day metabolic reset. So $150, guys, is going up at the end of the year, okay? So price is about to increase, okay, because the level of support is insane. I've come to find that out. And yeah, I'm going to have to start charging more. So get in now, guys. $150, I'm going to start opening the doors on that Sunday, December 27th. It's going to be a 5-day sale. So I'm going to run that Sunday, December 27th through the 31st at midnight, okay? So guys, now's the time. Take action, direct message me, okay? Schedule a discovery session with me. And I'm also going to put a link to the 28-day metabolic reset. I'll put that into the comments below so you guys can get some information on that. And also I'll put a link to my Practice Better, which is my coaching platform. You can see my schedule there, and then you can pick out a time so we can chat. So excited for the new year. And ladies, I want to make this your last weight loss attempt, okay? So schedule that free session, no obligation. If my coaching isn't a good fit for you, no hard feelings. But guys, everything is online. So even if you live across the country, it doesn't matter, right? We can make it happen. So that being said, guys, I hope you have a great Monday. Holler at me in the comments if you have any questions about anything. Okay? All right. I'll talk with you soon. Bye.